Alrighty, race fans, welcome to another edition of the track review. Alright, in today's edition we're going to take a look at an old Tyco S set, kind of forward into the past. The Tyco Daredevil Road Racing Set, the triple level racing. Interesting box top. You can see that there's some things on there as advertised in Look magazine and Life magazine. Back in the day, that's where all the eyeballs were the big format magazines. Anyways, it said I got off of eBay. I thought it was kind of interesting, mainly because this was just what you did. There wasn't a lot of dramatic concepts like maybe some of the more modern Tyco sets. But anyway, this set is exactly like I got it off of eBay. I haven't even opened the box. So let's find out together what it's all about. Alright, this is exactly how I got the set. There's a little bit of packaging in there to kind of keep things from rolling around. Interesting little piece there on all the different parts that you can get. And complete breakdown on the old Tyco S cars. And I guess with this particular set, maybe you can do a number of different layouts, perhaps. I don't know if we've got enough track pieces to do that, but at least they give you some set examples. And what was kind of nice about these sets, they had a really nice kind of vacuum-formed shell that all these pieces came in. And as I recall, I believe these sets, I'd have to go back and maybe ask Pat Dennis what indeed the case was, but I believe these were all packed out over here in the U.S. With a combination of imported and American parts. Let's see. Yeah, track was made in the USA, and then you had other pieces like the controller. The controllers and the power supplies were imported. We were supposed to have some cars. I don't see any cars just yet, but we'll have to read through that and see if we got any cars with the set. I thought the thing came with it, but like I say, we're finding out together just like I bought it. Alright, welcome back, race fans. We got the tracks sort of kind of put together. I guess maybe I was expecting a little too much, but sometimes you just got to take a gamble. The set, dates back to probably the mid to late 60s. I want to see if I can find a date on this thing anywhere. But one of the problems is a lot of the track connectors are breaking, and then the guardrails, these little pieces here are breaking. The plastic is so old, so that's created a number of problems in getting this thing put together. Alright, so this is 1969, so 68, 69 when this set was produced. So these slide lock pieces here, these tabs, because they're old, they break off. So there's been a number of track pieces that have broken off and aren't really holding together well, and that's caused some issues here in trying to get this thing together to run. Plus, this particular piece here, they've got some support pieces here, and a lot of these are breaking simply because they're so old. They don't have any flexibility anymore. There's supposed to be a couple of these that go all the way around, so even though this is holding up, it's not supported on the inside the way it should be. So I've got to do something to try to rectify that before I run cars around. So we'll keep after this. This could actually be the first failure that we've had with the track review, but like I say, we'll all learn together and come back here another day. Alrighty, race fans, I think maybe we're getting close to being able to run cars on this track. This one has been a lesson, no doubt about it. As we mentioned in just the previous segment, there's been issues with this old Tyco slide lock track. The connectors on the end, these little pieces here, get brittle over time, and when you go to snap them together, as you can see, these are very stiff. The ends of them here break off, and of course then there's zero anything to hold them together, so they just tend to fall apart. And the set being dated 1969, that's a lot of years to pass, and plastic does get brittle over time, and that's what happened here. I believe when they went to Tyco Pro in the early 70s, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, I think Pat Dennis, who was the engineer with Tyco at the time, redesigned the set to have a push lock system that you see even today on the Tyco track to eliminate this problem of these tabs getting fatigued and breaking off. Also, another issue with these slide lock tracks is the track pieces in here, these rail pieces, they get smushed, and then when you slide them together they don't contact very well, so you got to take it all apart, bend them back out to get your connections. So that's very frustrating. I can say that this small track is probably right up there with some of the more frustrating sets that I've had to put together. You know, I mean, I could go back to the one that we did, the Marchand Skyfighter. That one was really frustrating to put together. However, all the pieces were in the box. Didn't have to go reappropriate anything. This is not the case. It's been at least 5 days since the last installment or the previous segment that we filmed, because I had to go get these particular aftermarket support pieces. These are actually Auto World bridge supports, because the pieces that came with the set, these little yellow pieces here, a lot of these were broken over time. The plastic gets very fatigued and just breaks very easily. There's just a number of these guardrails and these support pieces where they've just literally broken off. The white guardrail that you see is lifelike, that I reappropriated for this particular endeavor. And a lot of these other track pieces, there are a few other pieces in here, some of the straights that have one of the tabs broken off, so that's been a problem. I did finally get the thing to be relatively stable. One of the other issues I ran into, one of the controllers is dead. I believe the red one is dead. I haven't bothered to put something else in there, but at least the white one works. And the final thing was trying to find a car that would run good on the set. These were originally to be Tyco S cars. The set did not come with any, and was advertised as not having cars. So I did know that going in, that there was no cars with it. I tried a couple of T-Jets on the track, but due to some bad connections with these slide locks not going together completely, the guide pins would get in the slot and bottom out. So I had a lot of problems even getting a T-Jet to run. What I found, Tyco Pros would kind of sort of run, but actually the best car that ran on this is this old Tyco Curve Hugger. This one here actually ran the best, or gave me the least amount of problems. So we may fire it up here in a second and run it and see what we can do. Alright, let's see if we can run a few little laps with this thing. It seems like something's getting dirty here. We may have to clean the pickups or see what's going on. It's getting a little problematic. All right, let's see if it does any better now. Come on. Come on. I think the controllers are getting a little balky. It doesn't act like the car. It feels more like the controllers are getting a little sticky. And they're kind of warming up. There could be some issues in these cheap controllers because I don't have a lot of travel before the car does anything. Alrighty guys, so it's Uggg fix time. I went back down in the storeroom and found some old Tyco pistol grip controllers. They called them Tyco Trolls from the early days of Speedways, probably another 4 or 5 years prior to this set. Kind of a nice pistol grip controller actually, and I had them wired into another track with actually a driver's station, and so I went down and got that adapter, hooked it into the transformer, and lo and behold the things worked. So let's get the track put back together and run a few laps and see how this does in terms of controllers. Alright, let's see how this does. We changed bodies on the car just to see if that helps anything at all. And evidently it doesn't. Okay. Alright, let's try to wrap this thing up here. One of the things that I realized about this old track here is the guide slot, the transition is straight. If you notice, like on more late model track, they actually have kind of a draft to where when you come through the slot, you have more area here. It kind of funnels it back through. One of the problems on these slide lock tracks, if something is not exactly lined up, the guide pin will come along and hit something and upset the car, and that's been indeed the case on a lot of this stuff on this track. That's, I guess, the hazards of a lot of this old stuff. Technology's changed over time. I mean, I can't try to be too hard on the situation because we don't have the original Tyco S cars with this track. These cars were completely different than any of these inline cars that we're running today, or even substantially different than a T-Jet of its day. It actually had like a worm drive gear in it. The cars didn't coast at all because of that worm drive, so you always had to kind of stay on the throttle to keep the thing at the speed to where you want it. You didn't let off the throttle and have the car coast. It just ground to a halt. They had a little different guide system on them than what a T-Jet would have, or even a more modern fixed pin inline cars do, so that may have had something to do with the car's ability to perhaps run well on this style track. They did have some good bodies back in the day. They had a little red wagon, a Ferrari, Jaguar, Mako Shark. There's an old Ford pickup truck, Corvette, a Cheetah. There was a split window Stingray. They had a lot of really interesting bodies, and I think they were done very well at that. But you know, age has gotten the best of this particular set. So, you know, in summary, it's been interesting. It's been a learning experience to sit here and you know, take something that was produced and marketed, you know, back in the late 60s and see what it's doing after all these years, which age hasn't treated this particular set very well. So if any of you have any great ideas about getting something like this and having a lot of fun, well, I think you'll be in for more of a learning experience.